Good morning, KarenLoveLee here, and I'm super excited because I have the privilege and honor to teach and coach one of the most mind-blowing people I have just met and have never formally coached before. And so he has courageously and brilliantly chosen to be coached live, even though this is recorded, coached live and share it as a podcast. And our topic is all about what my season 3 is all about and where I am choosing to focus my time in teaching human beings how to become magnets in terms of prosperity, primarily, especially money. And when I say prosperity, I'm talking about everyone and everything your heart desires. And the biggest part of this is the magnetism piece. Magnetism based on miracles and magic. So that means that my coaching is all about having human beings become actual magnets for their dreams and desires. And that with the least amount of effort, whatever you perceive or think in your mind that you desire, that the universe and everything lines up, including people and situations and opportunities, so that it actually comes to you. And the money is offered to you. This is how I've been living my entire career life. And before that, as a child, I was a magnet for every one of my dreams. And so this said, we are actually coaching together right now, and I have never coached formally Daniel ever before. This said, good morning, Daniel. How are you?
Good morning, Karen. I am very excited for this. I'm feeling very pumped.
Okay, great. So let's get right into it. Ask me your question.
All right, so pretty much here's my question. So obviously, like, as a 19-year-old, my number one priority right now is just making more money, honestly. And so my question is, how can I start making more money? You know, what is stopping me right now from making more money? Pretty much, what things that I don't know about myself are just stopping me from making more money?
Okay, great question. I'll repeat it. So your desire is to make more money, and your question is, what is actually stopping you, which is brilliant, to make more money? And that's exactly what we're going to focus on.
Yes.
So now we're talking about not just make more money. Anyone can really make money, right, Daniel? Like, you can go out and you could, just an example, you could go try and sell things. You could prostitute yourself. Do you understand? Like, you could go and steal money, rob a bank, any one of those things. So now we have to be specific. Okay, so you are asking to magnetize more money through your career, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, you also stated, I'm not a big thing on biological age, but you are technically 19 in the human suit, right? In the physical form. Okay, good.
Yes.
So I will also tell you at 19, you're a very wise old soul. You're welcome. You're extremely intelligent, but also extremely insightful, okay? And you're definitely a seeker.
Yes.
So congratulations, and that is amazing. And it is typically the personality type that I work with, regardless of age, because technically I can coach an 8-year-old brain, minimum, yes? So that said, you are asking... So when we say career, I will always say, number one, you manifest and magnetize money if you are devoutly in your passion, burning desire and obsession as a career. Okay, so that's number one we want to look at. But what happens, the way to do it is in your attitude, your beingness, your self-confidence, your courage, and your faith and trust. These are big things. Now, we're going to look for, so that's easy. I can tell you all the things to do, but if you want to shortcut it, We are looking for the things that are actually unconsciously blocking you from making and magnetizing, manifesting money. Okay? So that said, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there's unconscious fear around money right now. So I need for you to tell me a little bit more. In other words, tell me your biggest frustration in what you're doing in your career right now to make money.
I think my biggest frustration in my career right now is that it's very, just like with any business, it's very, obviously, just with any business in the world, right? It's very sales oriented. Mm-hmm. And I feel like one thing I've struggled with is sales. I feel like I've just struggled with, and I didn't always struggle with it. I remember when I was younger, I was more confident, I was more like, I didn't care what people think. But then over time, it's just like I started caring what people thought about me, and so I know sales has been one thing I've obviously gotten better at it, but just one thing that I'm afraid of, or that I have been afraid of, just getting someone to, buy my service and believe in my service, and I guess I've just always been afraid of people saying no. Okay,
that's rejection. Yeah, so sales and acting are the same. The best salespeople are completely oblivious to rejection. You gotta have a thick skin, yes?
Right, yes.
Okay, so that rejection. So let me back up. Your ability to make, maintain, manifest, magnetize money and sustain it over a lifetime has everything to do with your relationship to yourself. And how much you believe in yourself, regardless of what anyone else says, thinks, or does. In other words, it comes down to unstoppable self-confidence. But underneath that is the ability to not take any and all rejection personally.
Right.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So in order for that to happen, most people focus on the money. Where's the money? Where's the money? We're focusing on where's me? And why do I not feel powerful within myself? Okay? Mm-hmm. And we're talking about sustainability of money. Right. Because let's ask Steve Jobs how that's going for him. More money than God, but he's dead. So that's not sustainable. No amount of money could have saved his life.
Right.
Okay? So we want to look at sales. So is that the hardest part? You're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Okay, and your business is what?
It's I own a marketing agency.
Okay, good. Marketing agency. I'm sorry?
And I help local restaurants.
Perfect. So your niche is marketing restaurants, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, great. The riches are in the niches, people. Okay?
Yes.
So you stay with your niche. The riches are in the niches. All right? Yes. So restaurants in the area. So that means as an entrepreneur, and you're the CEO and president of your own company, that means you must procure clients, do the work, whether it's you or your team, do the work. That means you need to close the deal, so to speak, right? Yep. Get the contract, get consideration, the money, the payments, and then execute on the marketing, yes?
Yes.
And then have the exit strategy.
Yes.
Perfect. So that is a CEO mentality to handle all those things. Is it just you in your company?
Yeah, so it's just me for the main part. I do have like a videographer who does work for me.
Okay.
But other than that, that's pretty much it. Everything else.
Yeah, so that's an independent contractor, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that's not a full-time employee. So let's just say, for argument's sake, basically it's just you.
Yes.
Okay. So you struggle with, and now your brain's not going to want to hear the negative. It doesn't want to hear that you have fear of failure. So you need to check your conscious mind at the door and your ego at the door right now. Because I'm going to give you the answer right here, right now, based on my own life and all my case studies. Is you're afraid to fail and you're afraid to be rejected and you're taking it personally. And it's all tied to what you think money can do for you in your life.
Right.
Okay? So I'm going to tell you, we're just going to do the fear of failure and the fear of you not being good enough to yourself and everybody else. Self-criticism and external criticism. which all lends into failure. So, but let's say it this way, the test question is, once you do get a client, does it feel like you're like, whoo, and the rest is pretty flowy and readily, easily to execute? In other words, yes.
As of right now, yes. Before, like a couple months before, it wasn't that way, but now it actually is that way. Like once I sign someone, I'm confident in my abilities to execute.
Yeah.
And give them results. It's just
right.
Just signing them.
Yeah. So if you could just sign people up, that's your hardest part. That's all we want to clarify. That's like the big piece of your puzzle. Okay, perfect. So let's go to the money piece. Just whatever comes to your mind, you're focusing on money. What if we were to say money equals what for you? What is it about money that is so attractive and enticing?
So for me, money equals freedom. I just with the more money, I don't have to worry about am I going to be able to afford my rent this month. I don't have to worry about am I going to be able to eat this day, or am I going to be able to get around town, or am I going to be able to do anything pretty much? And so that's really is what money equals for me. And, and I have huge goals, just to take care of my family. My mom's still working, and she's like 50-something. I should probably know her age, but she's like 50-something.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know my parents' age, and I don't even care to know, because all I know is we're all getting older, and I don't want to hear about it. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Okay, so money equals freedom for you. So let's reverse engineer it. Let's just say without money, what happens for you? What's your thought process?
What do you mean?
If money equals freedom, let's take money away. If there's no freedom, then what's going to happen?
If there's no freedom?
Yeah. No, if there's no money. Well, we can say by rational reasoning, deductive reasoning, without money, you're not free, are you?
Right. No.
But I need you to elaborate on that. Say a little bit more about it. Without money, you have no freedom.
Right.
If you have no freedom, then what?
If I have no freedom, then I feel like then I'll just be living like an unsatisfying life, where I had a certain amount of potential, but I never lived up to it, and I'll never and then without that money aspect, I won't be able to do the things that I've always wanted to do. I wouldn't have lived up to my potential in the sense that I've always wanted to take care of my family, have that ability, but obviously if there was no money, I wouldn't be able to do that at all. And that'd probably make me very disappointed. Over looking back at my life, that'd probably make me very disappointed in myself.
Right, and we can say disappointed, unhappy, unfulfilled, right? And then we die.
Yep.
So it's a pretty crappy life, right?
Yes.
Which I can relate to. Now, not everybody equates money and freedom. There are 4 basic personality types, but as luck should have it, Daniel, I am also a freedom seeker. Massive. Okay?
Right.
So I need you to listen from a place so you can get this, and your subconscious, unconscious mind can get this as fast as possible. Yes. You're living a lie to think that money is freedom. You're saying that money is freedom. If that were true, Steve Jobs would still be alive. Do you understand this? It's delusional thinking. I'm not going to say, don't have money.
Right.
Money definitely can shortcut stuff. It can even buy time. Okay, but it cannot buy happiness.
Right.
Okay, it cannot buy happiness. So if I was living in money is freedom to me. And what I realized was, oh my God, in my training and understanding the technology and methods and techniques that I coach today, if money equals freedom and I have no money, then I'm emotionally in prison. I'm in emotional jail. Can you see that?
Right.
Which means I'm unhappy.
Yes.
Okay, and if I'm unhappy and I don't feel good, the thing with my line of thinking, what I came from, it was death or life. It was always a matter of life or death for me.
Yep.
So if I feel an emotional prison, there's no point for me, and I'd rather be dead.
Right.
Which is scary to think, yes, and have to deal with within myself, and then have other people like deal with that. You see how that's a mess? It's a train wreck, isn't it?
Yep.
So what I realized was, and I'm telling you right now, you're going to set yourself up for grave disappointment and failure if you think that money is freedom. Money is merely a tangible object used in exchange for goods and services. Period. End of story. It'll never, ever guarantee a sense of freedom and connection and help. You talk about wanting to help your mother. Okay? And that is a noble thing. That's a great son thing. But what happens if your mother just happens to say, for instance, which is a possibility, if not for you, for other people, she perceives it as an insult. How dare you think I can't support myself? I don't want your money, which I've been through with my parents.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Okay. And so do you see how that would be very crushing?
Yes, it would be very crushing.
Right? You're thinking you're being noble and you're being a great son and you're making all this money and you're like, here, Mom. And she's like, don't you ever insult me. I never want to talk to you again. Don't think that I can't support myself. And you know what? I don't want your money. I want a relationship to my son. That's it before I'm dead.
Right.
That's the ultimate rejection, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And you're banking on money equaling freedom, relationships, helping out your family. Do you see how it's a wicked lie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can tell you the opposite is true. I came from money. My parents were self-made, and they just kept making more and more money.
Yep.
And the more and more money they made, the crazier they got.
Wow.
Yep. And I mean, not like crazy, like psycho. My father was all over the place, cheating on my mother, paying for the apartment of his mistress in Manhattan, New York City. Yeah. And then we did the fake, are you ready? The fake, almost white Christmas. No offense, I'm just saying because I'm Asian, Chinese American, born here in the U.S., okay? And my mother's born here in the U.S.
Yep.
We did the whole Christmas one year where it was the whole... My mother opens a little box with a key to her brand new Mercedes. And she had just gotten almost a 3-carat diamond ring, you know, and it looked exciting until my mother was like, yeah, these are just guilt gifts because I found out about the mistress in New York and I called her.
Wow.
You see how this is tragic?
Yes, very tragic.
That money was even worse for us.
Right.
Okay? And so we really want to stay with the point. We were not freer. We were even more entangled in this family dynamic that was prison. Right? Now my mother is having us take sides, and my father's cheating, which I knew, by the way, since I was 6 years old, that he'd been cheating, which he confirmed because I confronted him. And that's another thing this work does. It has you confront the creepiest stuff in the family. Call it all the elephants in the room.
Right.
Okay? So if we look at it, if I came from money, then how come I never felt free in my whole life? I was severely depressed and suicidal.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Daniel, can you see the, and you can even look at your own life. Scan backwards right now. You've had significant chunks of money coming in as an entrepreneur. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Did you feel free?
No, honestly.
Bingo.
Because when I get that money, like, it would go, like, away immediately.
Yeah, so do you see how much you're lying to yourself to think the money's freedom?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing is you've got to let go of thinking money is some kind of quote unquote God for you or is saving you in any way. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's got to go.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're setting yourself up to live a lie. Then you'll always put yourself on the wheel of money insanity.
Right.
Okay? More money, more freedom. No money, no freedom. But then you're going to find with money, you just said it based on what you just told me and your own evidence. You said I didn't feel free.
Right.
Do you see how crazy making that is?
Yes.
Wheel of insanity, doing the exact same thing, expecting a different result.
Right.
So you're really saying, and then we can argue the point, well, I'm meaning lots of money coming in lots of the time.
Right.
Okay, well, I have something for that too. Not to say you don't make money. I'm teaching you how to manifest, magnetize the money, maintain the money, sustain the money, but not dictate your life. Can you see this?
Yes.
As free or unfree.
Right.
That's where you're going to get really, really, really unhappy and unfulfilled super fast.
Right.
And it will show up and it will show up in really unhealthy, creepy ways.
Right.
Infidelity, multiple, serial dating, cheating on the love of your life, losing her, never having a chance to have her back. These are the people I coach. Right? Or try to come in as clients. And I'm just thinking, wow. I know I can help them, but are they willing to invest?
Right.
Time, energy, money. But what I want you to see is that you have more power when you just let money be money.
Okay.
And not tie it to and associate it with freedom, because you just told me you weren't free, and you're still not free.
Right.
Oh, and here's the other side of the coin. Have you ever managed a large sum of money? Let's just say I handed you $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that would give you freedom?
If you were to give that to me right now, yes, I would have a sense of more freedom. I would.
Okay, and then I'd bet you that money back that would last for a New York minute.
Wow.
Well, here's why, Daniel. Hear me out first and see how it lands and feels for you and what you think about it.
Yep.
So you have $500,000. How are you going to have that money grow?
Well, if you were to give me that money, honestly, I'd pay for the full year of coaching service.
I swear to God, audience, I didn't tell him to say that. I am blown away that you'd even say that, but thank you. Okay, and I graciously accept. Yes, you're in.
Yes.
Okay, you made the cut. I have a huge vetting process. You're in, Daniel. You're in. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you. But okay, keep going. Go, okay,
yes.
with the money.
Definitely invested in myself more, like I've always been doing. Just personal development.
Mm-hmm.
So the coaching,
mm-hmm.
and then the other amount of money. Obviously, I would use that to pay my rent, but my rent isn't too much. But I would use that money to reinvest in my business that I have now. Obviously, I'm not going to need all of it. I mean, my business right now doesn't require too much money for investment. So that's what I would use it for. And honestly, I've wanted to start investing in real estate. So
okay,
what I do
good enough. Sorry, hang on.
Yes.
Do you feel confident that you can say, based on your life's experience, that you could guarantee not losing all that money or spending it? Do you understand the question?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so my point is, good luck managing. If you hired me first, then you could manage it. By the way, I am a real estate investor and a current California real estate license. I came from investment real estate and retail wholesale real estate.
Wow.
So if anyone could coach you on that, it's me, truth be told.
Definitely.
And I'm self-taught, okay?
Wow.
Okay, so I'm just saying, if you hire me, you're good. But let's just say I'm not here. Because I'm, flying from planet to planet, doing global mission work. Whatever, okay? Right. Not that I wouldn't want to coach you. But if I'm not available, we can just restate that at this time, you are not confident to keep that money and have it work for you. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. Because I feel like if you weren't here, honestly, I feel like what would happen is something would pop up, I don't know, something, 30 grand, then I'll pay. I'm like, oh, okay, it's 30 grand. You're not 500 grand, we'll be okay. And then, something else will pop up, another 30 grand.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh, okay, it's just another 30 grand. I still have, 500K, and that'll keep going. Because I know I do that even now.
Exactly.
Sometimes. And it's just like, and then next thing you know, I'm like, okay, there's nothing in there. So it's just like, yeah.
Okay, that's a lottery mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the majority of lottery winners blow through that money in a year.
Right.
Because nothing changes. Their mindset hasn't trained for that type of physical success in the form of money.
Right.
Okay? And so if we don't train to maintain and sustain, that's exactly what ends up happening is the money. And by the way, there have been quite a few lottery winners who have been murdered.
Wow.
Point blank murdered.
Wow.
Okay, so you have to handle family members coming at you, other people coming at you and asking for money, right? Then you got to worry about hiring all the right people to help you manage the money, or you can take the time to learn it yourself. But if that's not your forte, and right now it's not because you're a marketer, not money manager.
Right.
Do you see how it's going to be very, very stressful?
Yes.
I don't see freedom. Do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. Also, I live it. Meaning, I have a full-blown working horse ranch in California.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even keep up with all the fences and the horse facility, let alone manage all the money and the loans and the this and the that and the this and that.
Right.
Okay? So, do you understand? People think that money is going to make life better easily. It's just different. The grass is never greener. Now you've got to train to handle your money, invest in all the right things with the least amount of emotional wear and tear and the least amount of profit loss. Can you agree? So now you have new stress. You're still stressed, but it's a new stress. And it's a good problem to have, truth be told. Like if you're going to have problems, have problems over trying to keep your money. That would be a good thing. And then still call me and hire me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And I live it. You know, it's one thing, and I did my own real estate deal, and it's a multi-million-dollar deal.
Wow.
Okay? And all my associates in real estate said, Karen, and all the mentors, never represent yourself in your own property. Well, did I listen? No. I represent myself. Emotionally, it was very trying and stressful.
Right. Okay?
And then I beat out an all-cash offer.
Right.
How is that even possible? I was a loan contingency and I had no loan in place. I beat out an all-cash offer. Okay?
Wow.
Right. But do you see how much it was so stressful? Most people wouldn't even be able to handle that.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's okay, sign the papers, here are the keys, bloom. Now we're talking maintenance. It's one thing to want it and get it. Now I got to maintain it. Do you understand? It's like, and then keep up with all the payments and the deferred maintenance and, the horses and the fences and my tractor.
Yep.
Do you see? Where am I free? I don't feel free even talking about it.
Right.
So the key is, here's the answer. If we have freedom in our mind and we don't put any weight at all in money or no money, we're free. Do you understand? That's what you're actually looking for. And in that happiness, freedom, the money just shows up all over the place because people start going, oh my God, why are you so happy? Whatever you got, I want in. How much do you charge? Which is exactly what happened to me as a coach.
Wow.
Okay? I wasn't saying, I'm going to be a coach or, I'm going to have a marketing company.
Right.
I was just working fast and furious on myself. And people came toward me. Every one of my entrepreneurial businesses that happened. Every one. I never set out to be a dance teacher. I never set out to be a fitness trainer. I was just doing my thing at the gym and people offered. I was doing my thing at the dance class. That's the first thing. And I was offered and she said, I'll pay you $50 an hour. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I said, okay, great. Because I don't want to clean this house anymore. I was cleaning the house for like 4 hours for $50. Wow. Yeah. I was like, oh, cool. And then another student offered to have me babysit, paid me to that, babysit her teenage daughter. You know what I'm saying? I got more work and more money offered. I never said, by the way, I can watch your teenager.
Right.
Do you see how this works?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Can I ask you something?
Yes.
So what you're saying is let's say I'm not making no money, right? And I'm struggling to pay rent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Am I still able to feel free even in those moments?
Yes. That's the key to the whole thing. Is not have it mean anything, not have it weigh on you.
Right.
Okay, so you're training to go, my rent's due, I don't have the money right now. Okay, not a problem. I know if I just be who I'm being with the confidence, not take anything personally, and I just continue to do what I'm doing and have blind faith, something's going to happen. And that's counterintuitive, and I've lived it. That's when, out of the blue, a client you spoke to 2 years ago calls you and said, okay, you know what, Daniel, I'm ready to hire you.
Right.
What do you charge? Are there current rates? Or can I still get the same, deal that you quoted me back then? Or what's changed? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it. You talk about it, and he's like, okay. Or she's like, okay, fine, done deal.
Right.
I'll take it. That's when stuff like that happens. You understand?
Yes.
See, think about this, Daniel. Remove yourself. Observe it. Do you want to be around happy, healthy, successful people?
Yes, I do.
Where they're like happy.
Yes.
And they're being of service. And then you ask them a question and they're helping you.
Yes.
Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And then you're like, wow, the more you get to know that person and you see how they're functioning in their life, you most likely want to see what they're doing because it's very enticing, isn't it?
Right. Definitely. Definitely right.
And then you find out they offer services. Yes? Mm-hmm. Then you think, oh, I think I'll hire them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what you did with me.
Right.
Didn't you?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So
yes.
People are going to do that with you.
Wow.
Does that answer the question?
Right. That makes sense.
Yes. See,
makes a lot of sense.
It's our attitude. See, this is what I learned. Okay, this is a perfect example and exactly what you're trying to do with yourself. Okay? Is you're thinking money will give me freedom and my ability to help people and pay my rent and, get all my survival needs met. Money. So if I do this and have this and so if I work, okay, I do all these things and I have money, then I'll feel free. Isn't that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I was saying.
Right.
Okay. So, here I am doing, making money, and not just money, because I never thought about money. I was thinking if I have this and accomplish this, it's the same thing though. Okay. But let's just say for argument's sake, it's money.
Right.
Then I'll be free. Right. Okay. So I did everything. Real estate. I had more investments, more money coming in, more boyfriends, more marriage proposals, more horses. I got my ranch, more animals, right? Do you see this? More money. And do you know that I wasn't free and happy? I became more unhappy and alone.
Wow.
What happened? Because the money was there. It kept showing up in ridiculous ways. I invested in Costa Rica. I quintupled my money in 10 months on a blind investment based on my intuition.
Right.
Okay? Why was I still... And all of a sudden that dropped in exactly the right time when I wanted to buy my ranch. So that was great. But why was I still not happy? Then I closed escrow. I remember this to the day. I was out with my horses in the night, grooming my horse. But I had in that whole time, I had broken up with the love of my life boyfriend. The only one guy I ever thought I'd marry at that time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I had my dream ranch, had my real estate career. I killed it. I negotiated the deal myself, beat out an all-cash offer, no loan contingency, came up with a crap load of money for the down payment.
Right.
Over $400,000 for the down payment out of nowhere. Part of it was that Costa Rica deal that came in.
Wow.
But I'm miserable. I was thinking to myself, I'm still not happy, and I feel alone, and I have everything. What happened to my freedom? Mm-hmm.
It wasn't there.
No, because most people do it the way you want to do it, Daniel. Do, have money, then I'll be free.
Right.
So thank God, the worst thing that could ever happen happened. My sister kills herself. Slow suicide. Okay?
Wow.
So it woke me up, and then it had me deal with my own depression, my own suicidal tendencies I had my whole life, and then I had my suicide attempt. Well, clearly I failed, thank goodness, but it awakened me to such a profound degree that I figured out, I didn't figure it out. I had a lot of geniuses teaching me. through seminars and books and all types of things. But when I learned about brain science, basic brain science and languaging and perceptions, and I understood what was happening in my brain, the very thing that I teach, I learned that I was backwards. I was living my life backwards. I was doing to have in order to be free and feel free.
Right.
Here's the answer. You train to be free in your own mind, okay, in your own head.
Yep.
And then what happens is it's easy to do the next thing with effortless action, virtually effortless, and then you get exactly what you want with the least amount of stress.
Right.
Okay, so I'm training you to feel a sense of freedom regardless of your circumstances right now, regardless of how much money you have or don't have right now. Yes?
Yes.
Okay? Then what ends up happening, because you're so happy, whatever you got to do, it doesn't even feel like you're doing anything because it's effortless.
Right.
You know? Like dancing for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just effortless. Yes?
Right. Yes.
Uh-huh. And I get paid to still teach dance today. Oh, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And that's pretty cool, isn't it? I'm back to professional dance status right now, which I never saw coming after a 10-year hiatus.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Okay. So freedom first, feeling good first, organically. Yes. Okay, no drug and, no alcohol, no drugs. Organic, feel good.
Organic freedom.
Yep. Okay. Which is a brain mind thing that we need to understand, learn, and train for and practice. Yes?
Yes, you're definitely right there. Because then my next question is how can I feel free?
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, but you understand the concept. I just got to make sure you've been living your life backwards, and can you see it clearly isn't working based on your own evidence?
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
You got it.
Hasn't been working.
No. Yes. Okay, so now in order to feel free, we got to go back to find out why you don't feel free. So let's go back to the sales and the rejection. Okay, you got to go to the thing that hurts the most.
Right.
So what is it when you're trying to close a deal? What has happened in your own life experientially that tailspinned you and your belief is about yourself?
I think so when let's say when I'm in a sales meeting, obviously the biggest thing is they'll say no, we don't want to work with you, and then I'm like, damn it, well I really want to make more money. That's pretty much that whole thought process. But looking back into my life, I think one of the big things was, one, I didn't have a dad, so I guess I felt like a certain sense of rejection from that, because he willingly chose to leave the family. It wasn't like he died, or it wasn't like, he was in the military. He just got up and left, So maybe it stems from that.
Okay, it does. So you nailed it. Yes?
Yes.
And I know you know some of this stuff already from my podcast. Did you have any conscious awareness about your dad leaving before you and I ever spoke?
Honestly, not really.
Exactly.
I really didn't. I know he was never there, but I never actually, was consciously, aware of it,
Okay, so how old were you when he wasn't there?
So I was 2 years old when he left the family.
Okay, and he so say it again, you're 2 years old. Do you remember him actually leaving?
I don't remember him leaving, but I remember seeing him in 8th grade because he had been in prison, and then so he reached out to my mom. Then he I don't know, for some reason he bailed himself out. I'm not sure how it worked out. Then I saw him for a week, and then he left again. That was pretty much it, and then he was just gone again.
Okay, so your mother told you were 2 when he left.
Yes, so Bob told me. Yes.
Okay, and that is, were your parents married?
Yes, they were married and then they got divorced.
Okay, so they're married, and then did you have any siblings before or after you?
Yes, I'm the youngest, so I actually have an older sister, older brother.
Okay.
So my oldest brother was actually old enough to understand that he left, and so he was actually able to see that he left.
Right. Okay, so you're 2. You're the youngest. It's the same biological father of all your brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So you're 2, but that's all you remember. Do you remember anything at 3 or 4 or 5 that that your father was gone?
Not really. I did know that. Yeah, I don't really remember anything from 3, 4, or 5. But if there's anything I did know is that, like, my mom, she would get in other relationships as I was like in middle school and stuff like that. So she would, have different people live with us, and then we'd make them part of the family, and then those people would leave, and then obviously there were so many problems when she would try finding someone to start living with us again, and that person would be drunk, and they'd be abusive, and so she would pretty much try to find different people, I guess, just to feel her own satisfaction, but those people end up leaving too. So
okay, so let's go back, because I'm going to tell you right now the rejection you feel with all these deals in marketing. Are you predominantly dealing with men, by the way, as the main decision makers?
Yes, main decision makers.
Yes, right, because it's company. Whereas you're not selling, it might be women you're dealing with, or you're selling like houses or cookie dough, Right. Okay, so isn't that interesting? So the same rejection is actually being triggered from your childhood and not having a father as it is when you're in these meetings trying to close a deal.
Right.
Can you look back and kind of sense it feels kind of the same?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it that way. Wow.
Exactly. So let's go back. Fundamentally across the board, every child is going to take it personally when they're, especially a boy and a dad, when the parent is gone. Every child, by default, will take that personally. How can you not? Okay?
Right.
So you took it personally and it is the ultimate form of rejection. But let's go back, and I want you to think in childhood language how it made you think or feel in terms of not having your father. For instance, my dad didn't care about me, he left, he never came to see me.
Right.
How would you say it in your own words?
Well, if there is one thing I know about my dad is that he has other kids too with other women. And so I think the main thing for me was, like, not only does he, like, not care about me, but he cares more about, like, his other kids than he does me.
Okay, very good. So let's repeat that back. So you're saying my dad doesn't care about me and he cares about others more.
Yes.
Okay, now, good, perfect. Now elaborate, say more about it. Say, in other words, when you say he doesn't care about you, what do you mean by that?
He doesn't support us, or he doesn't support me in any way, whether it's, financially, whether, it's emotionally, because, I feel like, because I didn't have a dad, I feel like that's one of the main reasons why I've always struggled, being a leader, in front of a group of people, and obviously I've gotten so much better at it. But, I just feel like he just wasn't there to show me what it looks like to be a leader, or show me what it looks like to lead a family. I had to watch my mom, and I feel like my mom, wasn't, or I feel like she wasn't supposed to be a leader. She wasn't supposed to be the one to lead the family. And so just him not being there, I feel like I missed out on all those qualities. And like I said, he had other kids, and he did a lot of criminal stuff.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know that my dad actually used to steal a lot of money from people. Like, I know he stole like $10,000 from a family once.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And,
so also, I'm sorry, also what you're saying then is your father never even helped financially to support you. So there was he wasn't physically there. There was no emotional ties. And there's no spiritual ties, no emotional, and then no financial.
Right. Exactly right.
Okay, so your brain actually tied into and associated with this money. Do you see how there's a deficit? Like there wasn't even quote unquote child support, which is illegal, by the way.
Right.
Right? It's illegal.
Yes.
So there wasn't even the financial support. So your brain, you tied money to caring about you. In other words, see if this resonates. If your father had at least paid money, it would have somehow shown that he cared about you at least to support you financially.
Right.
Right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you see now money for you is feeling cared for?
Right.
By your father.
Wow.
What'd you just get?
Wow. That's eye-opening. That's right. I feel like that really is right. I never thought of it that way, though.
Exactly. Well, that's why you need me.
Right.
I'm just a messenger. Nothing great about me. Right? Except I am kind of funny. I have good sense of humor. Thank you, Dan. Well, I'm just a messenger, right? You need somebody like me to teach you these things I needed a whole slew of people to teach me this stuff.
Right.
Because I was seriously a train wreck.
Right.
Like so far gone that you couldn't even believe it. Right. Meaning you're a cakewalk compared to what I came from in my mind. Okay? Is this
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why if I could do it, anybody could do it.
Right.
It'd be hard to seeing me now, but please, I have witnesses in a court of law that can attest to, my emotional issues.
Wow.
And it wasn't pretty. Yeah. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, the virus, see, you have this sense that not having a father meant you weren't worth caring for. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, it does.
Uh-huh. So, no dad, no care.
Mm-hmm.
No money, no care.
Right.
So, it's kind of sad. Again, if you don't feel like you're worth being cared for,
mm-hmm.
that's kind of depressing, isn't it?
Yes, very.
Yeah, so you've been actually living your whole life, 19 years so far, right? Doesn't include the spirit part, of believing that you're not worth caring for. Does that resonate with you?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So now what happens is the human brain is hardwired and designed by default to overcompensate for that and to mask the pain of it because you didn't even realize that's how you're functioning till now.
Right.
And working through this with me. Yes? Can you say that's true? Yeah?
Yes,
But
very
if you
true.
look, if you look backwards, this is why you've got to care for everyone and everything outside of yourself to make up for that pain. And you're really trying to just mask the pain of not feeling good enough or worth caring for.
Yes.
So you actually think, too, part of that freedom is the money would prove that you're caring for yourself and caring for your mother.
Yes.
Because, because you even felt the pain of your father leaving and him not caring about her.
Right.
See this?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, let's talk about how the brain functions and what's created in your mind based on perceptions and beliefs. Okay?
Right.
And it is predominantly unconscious. You had no idea any of this is going on.
Right.
All right? So we can say pretty much, you said you remember your dad's left when you were 2, but you had some sense that he was gone.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And somehow you said it in your own way or felt it. You didn't even need to say it out loud, that with no dad, there's something wrong.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And maybe there was something wrong with you, and maybe he didn't care about you.
Right.
Can you say that's true? Yes? It
Yeah,
felt that
very
way.
true. Yes.
So now
I
your
did.
brain, how great the brain is, takes that information. It actually perceived no dad, no care. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Do you see this?
Right. Yes.
Your brain now takes that perception. Can we say your opinion? Your assessment of the situation, okay?
Yes.
It took that, we'll call it your opinion, and it actually associated and attached itself to objective reality.
Wow.
Yeah. Dad here, dad cares. Dad not here, dad doesn't care, period.
Right.
That's how the brain registers information. That's how the brain computes information.
Right.
The default mechanism of the brain is to keep us breathing with a pulse and to hide at all costs, happiness and freedom, at all costs, fulfillment, purpose. It will hide, it'll hide the pain and the fear. It will mask it with other stuff. It won't blatantly show up as fear unless you're seriously being murdered or your life is in danger. Like you're like, oh crap, I'm going to die. He's going to stab me. You understand?
Yes.
Then you're like, you're immediately connected and conscious of possible impending death. Yeah?
Right.
But when your daddy and your little boy isn't there, you inherently know something's wrong. Your brain is saying, uh-oh, no daddy, problem.
Right.
Right? The fear mechanism is triggered, fight, flight, or freeze.
Yes.
Okay? And so you're actually, it hurts to even talk about, doesn't it?
Yes.
Every child, yes. You can feel it. It's all stored neuronal patterns in memory. Okay, it's stored in your body. Even you'll feel weird in your body, like heavy, or something might even hurt. Your heart, right, will hurt right now. So just bear with it. Just let it be okay, okay? Because you can only heal what we feel. We can only heal what we feel. And it hurts right now to talk about.
Right.
See, you are constantly in fear of not being cared for, especially by your father, right? The male figure.
Yes.
But you didn't see it as fear.
Right.
You were able to mask and cover up that by doing all sorts of things to overcompensate. Sports, high achievement. You see that how you were doing that?
Yes.
Being the best at everything. What comes up in your mind when I say that? How did you overcompensate?
One thing I've done over the last 2 years is, I've got into working out, into like lifting, and so I think one thing I've done is, I've built, I used to be really skinny 2 years ago, but now I'm like muscular and I'm fit, and I remember I told you about this earlier, but I realized through one of your other podcasts actually that I was actually hiding behind my physique. I hid a lot behind that, and I used my physique to be my self-worth. I was like, because I look good, as long as I have these looks in myself, I'd be worth something,
Exactly. I know, because I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? And I just got worse and worse over time because it didn't work. The better I looked, the lonelier I felt.
Yeah.
The worse I felt.
Right. Exactly.
Okay? Yeah. The more money I made, the poorer I felt.
Yes.
Okay? It's counterintuitive because we're going backwards.
Right.
We're doing it all wrong.
Right.
We have to work on our beingness first. We're human beings, not human doings and human havings. Isn't that interesting? Like, hello, why didn't somebody give us the manual?
Right.
Right? It's like, hello, why didn't we go through certification and training for this?
Right.
Which is so bizarre. Okay.
Right.
So let's go back to exactly, you're seeing how you're trying to mask pain. You don't even know it. Right. And through the podcast, you realize that's exactly what I'm telling you. So brilliant connections you're making right now, Daniel. Can you see this? Mm-hmm. So the overcompensation, you played sports, yes, as a kid?
I did.
Yes.
Yes, I played sports. Yes, I played basketball very early on. And then in high school, I played football and track. Mm-hmm.
And you were good?
Yes, I was really good at basketball. I was really good.
Yeah, so that's how you overcompensated too. Yes. Is you cared about basketball and you associated caring so much about basketball was your way of caring for yourself. Can you see this?
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. What the point is that we have this unconscious fear that we don't even know is there.
Right.
And it's hiding from us.
Right.
And it inadvertently drives us to do things to try to mask the pain. And here's the evidence to prove it. What happened with basketball?
So in terms of basketball,
did you stay with it? Give it up?
No, I didn't. I didn't stay with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I eventually, gave up.
Yeah, you gave up.
Yes.
Because the Band-Aid wasn't working, was it?
Right. No.
See, it made you feel good to a point until something else happened.
Yep.
And then you didn't feel good about it, so you gave up the Band-Aid instead of working on yourself.
Right.
That's what we all do. I did it with horseback riding. Same exact thing that happened to you in basketball happened to me.
Wow.
Except I was 7 years old when I started, and I quit at 12.
Wow.
Because I had a devastating situation where my first show, I wasn't able to get the horse over the horse jump.
Wow.
After 4 years of training.
Wow.
And it broke my heart. I was so humiliated and ashamed of my failure. I didn't say that then, but I made excuses to quit my passion.
Wow.
That makes no sense, does it? And I was a prodigy. I had the willpower and the mindset to compete as an Olympian. I was training by myself at 7.
Wow.
Right? Without my mother saying time for horseback riding. As a matter of fact, I asked her and I negotiated the deal.
Right.
Okay?
Wow.
So that's the mindset you need to be an Olympian.
Right.
Yes? But what I didn't have was sense of self and self-worth and self-esteem and self-love and self-respect. I didn't have any of that.
Right.
So it was just a cluster F. It was a train wreck. You see this?
Yes.
Okay? Because does that relate to your story? Isn't it almost identical?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened. I know this because this is how it goes for everybody. Something traumatic happened and then you quit basketball. Is that true?
Yes. That's very true.
You don't need to share what happened, but you can see it's the same parallel.
Yes.
Okay, that's the masking of the pain. It's an overcompensation mechanism that we are unconscious to.
Right.
And we have no idea until we can't stand it a second longer. So let's take it. Okay, so now that you understand the concept of no dad, no care, dad care.
Yep.
Now here's how the money relationship goes. Now this will either resonate with you or not, but exactly resonates with me, and it completely turned my whole life around. Okay, so what I have to say is all backed by case study, but myself and experience.
Yes.
And this is what I firmly believe, is that our relationship to and with money, there's a direct correlation to our relationship to self and our relationship to our mother and father.
Right.
In other words, it's a parallel. However we think about our parents, we think about money. And then it's whichever is predominant. So for you, you had a mother that was there, yes?
Yes.
Would you say you definitely knew that your mother cared for you and about you, yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But what was her relationship to money? Growing up, how did you relate to money? Was it there? Was it not there?
It was not there. I know I would hear my mom say, we don't have the money, to do this stuff. I remember I want to do stuff. She's like, oh, there's no money for that. Or she'd say, we're broke. Or she'd say, there's no money, different phrases just like that. So pretty much the money wasn't there, growing up.
Okay, and yeah, go ahead.
And then also, she worked 2 jobs, and so in my mind, I'm like, okay, so I guess what it takes to make money is to work hard, work a lot, work long hours,
right? Stress
yourself out, overload yourself. But even then, she still wasn't bringing, even though she was doing that stuff, she still wasn't, bringing in enough. I mean, she brought enough to, pay the bills and stuff like that, but, she still, didn't bring enough to, feel less stress. And so that was what I pretty much grew up with.
Okay, so there's going to be a direct correlation. So no dad, no care,
Mm-hmm.
no. So the same relationship that you have with dad is identical relationship you have with money.
Yes.
And that's for all of us. I firmly believe this. So we can actually pretend and see how it feels. Let's name your dad Money.
Yes.
No dad, no money, meaning dad.
Uh-huh.
No money, no care.
No care. Mm-hmm.
You see how that works?
Yes.
So you have now used money as a Band-Aid. You used
Right.
basketball as a Band-Aid. Now you're using money as a Band-Aid.
Right.
Okay? I've used every socially acceptable thing as a Band-Aid. Working out, fitness, horses, Band-Aid.
Right.
You don't need one horse. Why did I have 12 horses or 13 horses?
Right.
Because I was addicted, because it was a Band-Aid.
Right.
Right? I thought horses were happiness for me.
Right.
Could be money. I did it with money too.
Mm-hmm.
Money equals happiness and freedom. Horses equal happiness and freedom. There's no difference. Okay? So I needed to have lots of horses
Right.
to mask the pain of feeling worth less.
Right.
Self-hatred.
Right.
Okay? So for you, it's not being cared for. We could say not loved also. That's hard to say, isn't it? At some level,
Yes, it
you
is.
didn't feel like your father loved you, let alone cared for you. Yeah, that
You're
hurts.
definitely right about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay? And we don't even want to say it hurts so much. That's how we know we're nailing it right now.
Right.
No money, no love. No money, no care. No money, no life.
Right.
So that's your relationship to money right now,
Right.
isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh. And so how's that going?
Not very well.
No. Because you actually believe it's not so much freedom that money is for you. Money means that you care about yourself and you can care for others.
Right.
Trying to make up as a Band-Aid what you didn't have with your father.
Right.
Now, the brain associates all of that, but here's why I love this work is it's up to our conscious mind to go in and decipher and distinguish and dissect what's actually happening.
Right.
Okay? See, can you see that your father, you perceived, or your opinion was, based on the information that you had, is you perceived your father didn't care about you.
Right.
How do we know that to be true? Do you know for a fact he doesn't and didn't?
No, like I mean, he never said it. You know, I just assumed it.
You assumed
You know,
it. Right.
I just assumed it.
Yeah. And I want to take it a step further. Even if he looked at you and to your face and said, "I don't care about you," does that have any bearing on how much you can care for yourself?
No.
No. In other words, but the brain will associate, if my dad doesn't love me or care about me, then therefore I'm uncareable. I'm unlovable.
Right.
It's contingent upon your father's opinion.
Right.
Does that seem kind of odd to you, or weird, or illogical?
Yes, that is illogical.
It
I
is.
think that sounds illogical. Yeah.
But now let's take it objectively. He actually never said, "I don't care about you." So why are you clinging to information that is not actually, in fact, been said?
Right.
Isn't that kind of weird?
Yes.
And then you've been living your life in accordance with that.
Right.
We can say it's a lie. Do you see how subjective this is?
Yes.
We can say it's a lie, but doesn't it sound really delusional to be living your life based on not feeling cared for, yet we don't even have evidence to prove it?
Right. Wow.
Ah.
Wow.
What'd you just
That's right.
get? Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right. Well, like it's very subjective. Like how do I even know? You know.
Right.
And I've just been living my life just assuming or living it with this perception when, you know, I could be wrong the entire time.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, I have the perfect story for that, and this is how the brain works. This is why it's so messed up, and it's a human condition. It's the same story as your story.
Right.
Here's a story. I'm 1.5 years old. I'm diagonally across the room from my eldest sister, 15 years older than me. She was like a mother to me. She was my big sister and a mother because my mother had way too many kids and I had no attention.
Right.
Okay, so I knew. Nobody told me, but I'm very perceptive and an old soul and highly, highly intuitive to the point where I have a sixth sense. Right. So I somehow knew that she was leaving and I'd never see her again. But nobody told me that.
Right.
And there was a moment when she looked at me. Across the room, she was wearing a furry hat with furry little balls on the chin tie. And I looked at her and I said to myself, oh my God, how can she leave me? Doesn't she love me?
Right.
Okay? And so when she said that, the brain registered. Sister gone, unlovable. Just like you. Dad not there, uncared for. Exactly the same. Can you see this?
Yes.
But here's the best part. That installed, downloaded. It became my number one virus in my mind.
Wow.
It was my fear that could get triggered at 1/500th of a second, up to 7 seconds without any conscious awareness as to my perceptions about myself.
Right.
And if somebody leaves that I care for, by association, I'm unlovable. Can you see that? That's rejection.
Right.
Okay? Same thing you're going through. You feel a sense of rejection in the realm of not feeling cared for.
Right.
The same thing as rejection, yes? Another form of rejection.
Yes.
So I'm ultimately rejected by the love of my life, big sister, mother figure.
Right.
Okay? The one who played with me, my biological mother left me alone. My sister at least loved me and cared for me.
Right.
Hugged me. My mother didn't do that.
Right.
So she was actually better than my mother.
Right.
Okay?
Wow.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Cut to this work. She was estranged from the family, by the way. But cut to this work. When I started learning it, I actually tracked her down and found her, my sister.
Wow.
I called her. She took the call, and I was bawling my eyes out, and I told her, when you left, here's what I thought. You didn't love me, and you didn't care about me. And she said, oh my God, do you know that I was thinking I want to take you with me?
Wow.
And that I immediately went and got pregnant to replace you. Oh my, do you see how wrong I was?
Right.
You're doing the same thing, Daniel.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Wow.
I was living my whole life based on my perception of what I thought was happening. Meanwhile, the exact opposite was true. She was devastated.
Right.
If she could have kidnapped me, she would have to take me with her. And sure enough, she did. She immediately got pregnant. She was like 17.
Wow.
She got pregnant. But she said it. I got pregnant to replace you.
Wow.
I was bawling. I couldn't even believe it. That's why I love this work so much, is that it completely puts everything, it sets everything straight.
Right.
The human brain will automatically make stuff up in order to try to figure out how to survive life.
Right.
Okay, but it's like random thoughts. We just try to make sense of life on our own with no evidence, with no, we don't, it's like trying to find a dead body with no evidence.
Right.
What do? Right? You go and interview everybody. You look for hardcore. Why are we not doing that? Why do we just assume? That's what you did.
Right.
Okay? You're assuming, and now you're living your whole life trying to prove to yourself through everyone and everything that you're worth caring for. And right now, you're focused on money because that's the least threatening thing to do, isn't it?
Yes.
Is make a crap load of money so you can feel like you're awesome and worth caring for.
Yes.
You're trying to reparent.
Right.
Yeah, you're trying to reparent. You're trying to be your own dad to yourself through money. Can you see this?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And that's why when you go into these meetings, this is exactly why you're having trouble closing the deal in sales. Because the moment you get even an inkling, whether they say it in words or not, your brain will go right back to no daddy, no care.
Right.
No money, no care.
Right.
And it will be triggered unconsciously without any conscious awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going down the gloomy rabbit hole. Can you see this in your meetings?
Yes.
And your energy shifts.
Yes.
your confidence is gone.
Yes.
You're feeling rejected. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
That
yes.
energy comes through, and that's why they're not hiring you.
Right.
Do you understand this?
Yes.
It's not because you're not good at what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they're picking up that you're not confident enough to execute on the contract.
Right.
This is deep, Daniel. It's
wow.
pretty amazing.
Yes.
Look back at those meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see how this is impacted?
Definitely.
Okay, what are you getting so far?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as soon as I remember, like, I would, like in the meetings, obviously I'd be, when I first started, I was more nervous than I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember just being nervous, and then I remember like, I just remember not being confident enough in myself. I remember just like stuttering a lot. I remember just like overthinking everything I'm trying to say. I remember like just talking so fast, and
because this is what was getting triggered, what we're talking about.
Right.
One of the predominant things being triggered unconsciously without you even knowing it. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got to try and fix it and mask it and cover up and overcompensate for it, which is symptomatic of talking fast, stuttering.
Right.
Stuttering, is not a physiological thing. It's a self-confidence thing.
Right.
And I had a boyfriend who kind of stuttered, but I already knew it wasn't because, and he was this big strapping cowboy, like beyond belief, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he would kind of stutter. I would hear him talking to other people, and I knew he had confidence issues. But I wasn't in this business then. But inherently, I knew his stuttering had nothing to do with any, like a speech impediment. It was confidence related.
Right.
And do you know that when we were dating, he not one time stuttered?
Wow.
Uh-huh. That's how I know.
Wow.
The stuttering is symptomatic of you feeling uncared for, you feeling less than, you feeling abandoned and rejected.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, that does make sense.
Mm-hmm. And you don't even know it. So here's the thing. It's a conscious choice, Daniel, to understand and let go of this delusional thinking and lie that if there's no father, that you're uncareable. Meaning that you're not worth caring for, whether by him or anybody else. Right. You'll also see this in your dating romantic relationships. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Even friendships.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And this is why when the money did come in and does come in, can you see the happiness and freedom lasts for a New York minute?
Yes. You're totally right on that.
Say it again. I'm totally what?
You're totally right about that.
Yeah, because why? From your point of view?
Because I mean, it comes in, I'm just like, I feel a lot better, I'm happier, and then, it goes right back out,
Uh-huh. Because caring for yourself is contingent upon how much money you have and you don't have. Do you see how tragic that is?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, cut 5, 10, 20, 30 years of the people you know, whether they're famous or not, celebrity types that have more money than God and success and even fame, and they just can't get, or better yet, this is actually businessmen. Most multimillionaires have filed bankruptcy at one time or another. Donald Trump, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What's that about? Isn't that interesting? Same thing. It's the same thing, Daniel. Is they're using money as a Band-Aid and then they can't sustain it and then bankruptcy.
Right. Wow.
It's a metaphor.
Right.
We're bankrupt in our self-worth.
Right.
Uh-huh. And it just shows up in the physical realm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's the answer. This is just one virus of many, 0 to 19. You're right there. Right? We got to get rid of one after another. Okay? Right. But this is one big fundamental thing that is so profound. Mm-hmm. It's a conscious choice. You've got to consciously remind yourself, and you have the podcast, to listen to this over and over again. So when you're in the meetings, you're able to consciously go, this has nothing to do with how I care for myself or not. and it's not contingent upon my father caring for me or not.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Even if he said, I don't care about you, do you understand? It doesn't matter. He could actually say that to your face and it's still irrelevant.
Right.
The only thing that's relevant is that you care about yourself regardless of what anyone else says, thinks, or does. You are the only one to care about you. If 8 billion people never care about you, Daniel, and you freaking care about yourself more than anything or anyone,
right,
that's all that matters, isn't it?
Yes.
How does that make you feel to even hear that?
It makes me feel kind of, obviously it opens my eyes a lot, you know what I mean? It does.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel a lot better in the sense that, like, you know, it's upon me, you know what I mean? I don't have to worry about what anybody else feels, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, whether it's friends, whether it's family, you know, as long as I care about myself, that at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, you know?
And money's irrelevant.
Yes.
Stop abusing money and thinking money's your Band-Aid and your end-all and your fix-it.
Right.
That's like, okay, let's say money was really a person.
Yeah.
I have a magic wand. I turn money into Monique.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're using Monique, which is your relationships, by the way, to fix your hurt and you're feeling uncared for.
Right.
So you go to a girlfriend.
Yep.
You're using Monique the same way you're using money to fix something.
Right.
To fill the void of not feeling cared for. Do you see how that's just a disaster? It's called codependency. Yes. Technical term? Codependency. Mm-hmm. Do you see this?
Yes. Yes.
Stop using money. Yeah. To care for yourself. That's ridiculous. All you got to do is emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically care for yourself as if you are your dad to your little inner child, your little boy.
Right.
But better than your dad. You're already way better and more powerful, I want to say.
Right.
Okay? Because have you been in prison?
No.
Have you been arrested?
No.
Have you stolen money?
No. Never.
Okay, then you're way better than your father right now. Can we say that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's up to you to just love yourself and honor yourself and respect yourself by letting go of this not being cared about crap. Can you see that?
Yes.
And I say it this way on purpose so your brain remembers. Right. And you're like, oh, Karen, I heard your voice. Oh, now I get it. So that you in the meetings can just let go of it. Right. And this is just the beginning, but you just care about yourself unconditionally. And here's the best of all best parts. It's counterintuitive like you cannot believe. Think about this. If you're just caring about yourself and you don't need to prove yourself with money or women or work or deals or fixing your mom, right? Do you understand?
Right.
And you're happy and free. Do you feel how that would give you a sense of self-freedom? You would feel free.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
I would.
And you're vibrating. You know, brains pick up the vibration of other brains. You're vibrating at the highest frequency, like a radio frequency, like a cell phone frequency, hitting the tower.
Right.
And then it pings the other brain. It pings another brain, another tower, another cell phone frequency. That frequency then connects right to your high level frequency. And now, boop, boop. You are connecting with people without having to prove yourself. You're showing up as so confident, self-respecting, and efficient and effective, knowledgeable.
Right.
Okay? Effective, and boom, who's not going to want to hire you?
Right.
And if they don't, wasn't a match. Just like dating. Whoops, not a match.
Right.
How do you like that?
Wow. Wow. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. And so my question is, how can I just start caring for myself? What is it that I do? Is it just letting go of all this stuff? Is it just...
Okay, so the things to do is memorizing the information, everything I'm telling you. Okay. And then realize when you're feeling doubt, self-doubt, when you're feeling like, oh, things aren't working, this is when exactly you go back and you start praising yourself and telling yourself that you're more than careable, that you love yourself regardless. And it's a practice. You got to train yourself for this. It's really weird. And then you're going to go, well, why do I like myself? Oh, because I'm funny and I'm a good dancer. And I'm talking about myself, right? I like my hair. You know, and then you start with those things, right? The obvious things. And then you go, my God, because I have a really cool purpose and I care about helping recovering drug addict women and I rescue dead plants and I care about the global movement of empowerment, whatever is for you. So then you're like, because I'm a good basketball player and I really help this person. I care about my mom, even though sometimes she gets on my nerves.
Yes.
Right? And I haven't been in jail, considering the background of my father. Actually, it's a little better that I didn't hang around him. And I've got to tell you, it really is better that you didn't hang around him.
Right.
Because he was lost in his own world. Wow, isn't that interesting?
Wow. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
What'd you just get?
Wow, I actually didn't think about it that way. Like, it was actually a blessing that I wasn't around him, you know, because if I was, then I probably would have been influenced in a worse way, you know.
Oh, yeah, you would have followed suit. You'd probably be in prison right now.
Right.
Or you've been in a couple times for like, well, I already work with women from jail, non-violent felons. That would be you.
Right.
That'd be like, oh, hey, Daniel, what's up? I came to the jail, teach a little hip hop.
Right.
How you doing? What you in for? GTA? What you got? What you got? Oh, embezzlement. What? No GTAs? I learned all the codes from the women coming from jail.
Wow.
They tell me all the stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
And you're just like, what? I'm like, oh, really? You're in jail? What are you in for? These are the conversations I have. I can see the sheriff bracelet on their ankle.
Right.
They're like, drug possession, GTA, and they start, the rap sheet.
Right.
I don't judge.
Wow.
I'm just, do you see how, and we don't even know, he could love you more than life itself, and this does happen. He could have said, I knew that I was so effed up that there's no way I was going to be an influence, but there's not one day that I didn't love you more than life itself.
Right.
He could actually say that, and you'd be like, oh, man.
Right.
Good thing we targeted this now. Your life would have been kind of a disaster, Daniel, emotionally, not even physically.
Right.
I'm not saying you're going to be in jail, but you know what I'm saying? You'd be so miserable trying to make up for your dad not being around. It would just be a train wreck, yes?
Right. I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I will tell you, based on my work, the chances of you, if your dad was physically, emotionally, spiritually around you, the chances are you would have followed exactly his life.
Right.
Uh-huh. Because you would have picked up on all his crap.
Right. You're definitely right about that. Wow.
So it worked out for the best as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Wow, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. And thinking about that way, how does that make you feel right now?
Makes you feel a lot better.
Yeah.
It does. Like, even though initially I thought of it as like, a curse, it's actually more of a blessing. Because I know people that I've known that they do follow their dads.
Yep.
Footsteps, and for one thing, it's one thing I never wanted to follow is his footsteps. You know what I mean? Never wanted to do what he did. Get in prison, and he even cheated too. Actually, he had different mistresses and stuff like that. And I don't know, for myself, I would not want that at all. And wow, it makes me feel a lot better that it was better that it turned out this way.
Yeah, way better. Talk about being cared for. Maybe it wasn't your dad, but it was the universe or the God or the powers that be that were really got your back.
Right.
And really caring for you. Do you understand this? That's deep. Because all I can say is you dodged a bullet.
Right.
On so many levels. Isn't that interesting?
Right. Very interesting.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now look.
So powerful.
Yeah, totally powerful. And on the same, it doesn't matter if your dad was there and involved in your life. There's still going to be issues.
Right.
It's just going to be different. It's just going to look different. The names and places have been changed to protect the innocent, but it's the same underlying thread and phenomenon that occurs. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because I coach people who have helicopter moms and helicopter dads. They're hovering like too much.
Right.
Okay, so here's the bottom line. That we as humans, if we learn to just care for ourselves unconditionally, emotionally, spiritually, we're the ones to say, great job, high five, double high five, man, you killed it, you aced it, you're awesome. I'm listening to you. So this is you listening to your inner child and really developing a relationship to that little boy within you. Do you understand?
Yes.
This is across the board for every human being. Every human being must be the one to love themselves unconditionally, regardless of what anyone or thing says, thinks, or does, including animals.
Right.
I had a student from dance, the horse kicked her. The horse didn't like her.
Oh, wow.
My horse didn't like her. That was unheard of.
Right.
So she has to love herself regardless if another horse kicks her. My horse tried to dump her off her back when I was giving a lesson. Then she was actually kicked by another horse who looked right at her. Her energy was off.
Wow.
What I'm saying is, do you understand? Mm-hmm. At some level, the animal was picking up on her fear and her issues and didn't like her.
Right.
Because how come my horse never did that to me in 10 years? Where he went down to get her off his back.
Wow.
How come my horse didn't do that with me? Right? It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but whatever. You don't even need to believe it. Just resonates with me and makes sense. And it's just like, whoa, that's interesting. But the point is, how come some dogs... I rode a horse. Dogs bite people and they don't bite the other person. Weird. Right. I rode one horse in Costa Rica. Every day I'd come to do horseback riding on the beach, and the guy's like, oh, this is the horse that threw that lady off and that other person off. And it was my favorite horse. I'm galloping back and forth. Never did it ever try to knock me off. How do you explain that? Because they sense energy. Same with people. Okay? So what we want to get here, you asked the how, is going over the other podcasts I did, the last ones I did with Chris, listening to that, how you have to go back and remember all the things, and you're journaling about it, you're writing it down, what you love about you, your attitude, your beingness, right? Your talents, your gifts, your skills, every time, all the time. Why? Like as if you were a little kid. There's you, Daniel, now 19. What would you say to the 2-year-old you, the 8-year-old you?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, great job. Let's play some b-ball. Man, you're killing it. That's how you do it. Do you understand?
Yes.
And you're like, I care for me. You actually have to say, I love me. I care for me. It seems so even ridiculous that I have to, tell you to do that, but that's how it worked for me. My whole thing was, I love me. I love me. I love me. The antithesis of hate, because I was saying unconsciously, I hate me.
Right.
I never said it out loud in words, but I was feeling it.
Right.
Okay? And that's how you do it. Do you understand?
Right. Yes.
Okay, we have 1 minute. You nailed it. You killed it. You're so far beyond. You're blowing my mind here, Daniel.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Okay, so overall, looking back, what did you get today? I mean, you got a lot of things, but the biggest thing.
I got a lot of things, but I think the biggest thing that I got today was that I tied my money to, I tied how much money I'm making to how much care I put into myself. And so if there's no money, then there's no care, and then I tied that. And obviously that stems down from my dad not being around. Mm-hmm. And so I think the biggest thing today is it's more, I shouldn't tie my self-care to anything, whether it's money, whether it's women, whatever it is, as long as I care about myself and that I love myself. That's really, at the end of the day, the biggest thing and the only thing that matters.
Yeah. Okay, that's genius right there. That's exactly right. So now let's apply this to your sales. How can you see this could benefit in you having sales meetings?
I think the biggest way, or one of the biggest ways, is definitely not taking it personal when someone says no. You know, if someone says no, then instead of tying it, taking it personally like that,
right?
Because it just wasn't meant to be. You know what I mean? It's totally fine. And I think another way for sales is if I care for myself, if I love myself and am confident in myself and believe in myself, and my potential clients see that, then they would sense that energy, and they'd be more willing to work with me anyway. You know what I mean?
Bingo! That's it. Bam! Do you understand? If you're just going in and going, I know what I'm good at, and I have experience to show you, and here are all my case studies, or here are all my accounts, and here's everything I did. We might not be a match. See, we can't control, like, let's just say their whole thing is you could be a genius in your own right. You could have, like, $1 million accounts, and they might go, there's no way I'm hiring a 19-year-old. I'm just not doing it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, sorry, I can't help you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had, since fourth grade, I had a crush on this one kid, and he wasn't he didn't like Asian women. And we can say, is it racist? He just wasn't into it.
Right.
So I say, okay, and maybe it was me. Maybe it was even my personality.
Right.
Okay? And so it's not, I can't blame him if he's not into it.
Right.
At the time it hurt because I thought he was racist. No.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. Do you understand? We're just not a match.
Right. Just not a match. Yeah.
Oh, but here's part of that story. I must tell it because it's so fascinating. Now that I think about it, I forgot that that's what one of his friends told me, that he didn't go out with me because I'm Chinese. Wow. But here's what's weird. If that's were the case, so you know what? Cut to, guess what? My first boyfriend, professional baseball player, first round, draft choice, third draft choice, first round, baseball, shortstop, 6'2", gorgeous, star of my town. He was the one I ended up going out with, loved. Like, so this other boy that I liked all through high school wanted nothing to do with me. I end up dating the most famous baseball player in my town and my high school, right? Guess what ended up happening, Daniel? Guess who came back around and tried to get me? The one person.
That same guy.
Yeah. Wow. So it wasn't because I was Asian.
Right.
At some level, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
It always works out way better. I just said, okay, he's not into me. I just went about my business. I swear to God, I was just going about my business and my life.
Right.
And then I met, and then the love of my life, he walked through the door. I was friends with his sister. I was standing in the dining room. He dropped his bag from college. I'm just 15 years old.
Right.
And it was love at first sight for him.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what ends up happening. That's how your accounts are going to go. They're going to sign up. And if they don't, they don't. In other words, you're going to have a higher ratio of people saying, yes, I'll hire you, than not.
Right.
Then every now and then you'll get a not a match.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And today we can't even use the age card.
Right.
Can we? Not with Google, not with Facebook, and you know what I'm saying? And Mark Zuckerberg. We can't even use age as an excuse.
Right.
So forget that. So can you see how this, and it's a practice. It's not a one and done thing. This is just the first formal session. Could you imagine the whole year?
Right.
Dang.
It'd be so powerful.
Yeah. But I'm getting chills. Now you're just watch, and you're going to listen to this podcast before every sales meeting. Right. No joke.
Yes.
Okay? All right, so last words of wisdom. What would you like to say? To me, to yourself, to the listeners?
So pretty much everybody to the listeners, pretty much everyone who's hearing this, I think the biggest thing is just, as long as we love ourselves, in life, a lot of things can happen, whether it's, parents abandoning us, whether, it's people, maybe it's your girlfriend who doesn't like you or rejected you, or you feel rejected from. At the end of the day, none of that stuff matters as long as we care about ourselves and we love ourselves so much.
Mm-hmm.
Everything will be okay. Everything will be all right. And if anything, as long as we care about ourselves, we will definitely be able to live the life that we want to live. And
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It would be even better than you can imagine. That's the thing. Because I know, here's how this goes. For example, and maybe it's an energy thing, you will come back to me and say, Karen, I just closed my biggest deal. I just got my most ideal client at my current rate.
Right.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
And what ends up happening is you have too many clients, which takes coaching too. Because fear of failure, then fear of success. But the point is, you nailed it. Leaving you, Daniel, with this. You care for yourself. You go in and be you and the best you can be. And you give them, the presentation and walk away. And it's either a yes or a no to them, or set up a next meeting, more questions, and you just get on with your life. And if that's not freedom, I don't know what is.
Right.
Do you understand?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're totally right.
And the money always follows suit. I virtually guarantee it. And I say virtually because I have to deal with your human brain. But if I didn't have to deal with your human brain, I would say I would guarantee the money's going to be there. And I can only guarantee it through my own experience, because that's how I did it. I just kept working on me. And who doesn't want to be around someone who just keeps working on themselves and is like a master in their domain?
Exactly.
And then people are offering to hire me for my skills, my talents, my gifts, my knowledge.
Right.
Do you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So that said, oh my God, thank you all for listening. And Daniel, you chose to record this for yourself first and foremost. Yes. Mm-hmm. It also was a way for you to get an exclusive private session with me fastest, right? Yes. Within all the external conditions to work with me. Yes. But the main reason you did it is to be a contribution to other people and humans. Is that right?
Yes.
Good. And I want to thank you for that. Is that by you sharing your experiences and what you're going through, absolutely without question empowers the next human being, and so on and so on and so on. And that's why I do this. So I got to thank you. You are the encouragement and inspiration to have me keep going. And I am so beyond honored and blown away by your genius. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for continuing to talk with me and communicate with me, and for helping me, throughout my own journey in life, Karen. I really am grateful to have you in my life, So thank you.
You're so welcome, Daniel. And I feel that, and that is another amazing thing about you, is your energy is just so humble and gracious that it's intoxicating. Do you understand? It's absolutely intoxicating and highly magnetic and attractive.
Right.
And that's, at the end of the day, that's what all human beings, are looking for, whether friendship or businessship. Do you understand? Partnership. Do you understand? Yep. That's what they're looking for. Yep. So I'm excited to hear how it goes, and I'm excited to hear, and I know we'll be in touch, and I know that you're very close to getting into coaching over the long term. So yeah, so we'll hear all that. But I'm just like, that's what I really want to say right now. I got to back up from the mic and go, oh my God, Daniel! I can't wait to hear what happens. Okay, so there it is. I know that was loud, people, but I had to do it. I just got to be me. Okay, thank you all for listening. You're all amazing for listening to my podcast. Daniel, you're mind-blowing. And we'll do this again, I'm sure. Yes, Daniel?
Definitely.
Okay, cool. All right, wonderful. Yeah, thank you all. And I wish all of you radical prosperity, magnetism, and magic in every and all areas of your life. And this works. Like, the least amount of effort, being a magnet by being, then doing, then having, and being, then having and doing. Put the being first. Put your self-care and self-love first. And that just Yeah, expedites, shortcuts, catapults, everything. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you all for listening. Yep. Woo! Daniel, you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen.
You're so welcome.